It just so happened I was going in to get some pizza, and I see my friend, he's like keeled over, and he's not saying anything to anybody. And I go up to the kid he was with, I didn't know who it was, and I was like, yo, is he all right? What's wrong with him? And he's like, I don't know, bro. He's like, he took a whole bunch of something, I don't know. And I was like, well, what? He's like, I don't know, it was in here. And he held up, and it was a pill bottle.
How many guys know kids not using bike anymore? Just toxic, phones.
Prescription pills, when used the right way, they're legal, they can be helpful. It's when people abuse them that it goes wrong.
There's a first time for everything, and for many of these patients, they don't get a second chance. These are medications that affect the respiratory or breathing center. If you take too many of a prescription narcotic, you die.
Chelsea was very well liked by her friends and by her teachers.
Nacho was always, really active and athletic kid. He played multiple sports. Good student.
Aaron was the oldest of the boys. You could count on him. He was reliable and dependable. He was like that cousin. He was the one I would go to for help.
Ronnie was a neat freak, a clean freak, always had his hair braided. He was your typical big brother, really. We had the little brother, big brother rivalries. He was just a fun-loving brother to be around. He beat me up when I deserved it, even sometimes when I didn't. Kept me in line. Just like my best friend.
Ronnie was a starting halfback, one of our best players. He got several scholarship offers. He was going down to Tennessee State to be the next player to come out of Tennessee State and play in the NFL.
When he got into the pill use, his mood changed. He changed, was that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde? Ronnie wasn't the type of person who anybody would expect to be a pill abuser. I was walking up to football practice. My coach was walking towards me. He just had this crazy look on his face. He goes, "You think they might have found your brother?" And I was like, goofing. I was like, I didn't know he went missing. So I was making goofing off. And he was like, "No, Justin, seriously, they might have found his body." And I was like, "Wait a minute." I was like, "Whoa, what?" He's like, "Yeah, they discovered a body in an apartment in Telford."
I grew up with a good home, a mom, a dad, and a little brother. Had a lot of good friends, really innocent and really nerdy.
I was a good kid, loved life, had a lot of friends, played sports, got good grades.
Freshman year is when I started to experiment with, pills.
And in my sophomore year, so it was spring ball practice for varsity. We had practice with no helmets on. And a guy lowered his head. I was playing linebacker, and lowered his head without a helmet on, hit me right in my lip here, and I got a scar from it. And that's when they gave me my first bottle of pills.
In my mind, pills were better than doing meth or coke or heroin because, they're prescribed.
I finished that bottle a little more than prescribed. I was at school, and I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
You've gone from just really having great friends, always going everywhere and going to parties all the time and having a great time and being involved in everything in school to totally not being involved in stuff. He was always sick. He would always tell me, "Well, I don't feel good, I feel sick."
Things were going downhill rapidly. Her hygiene had changed. Her clothes had changed, her friends had changed. I really felt like in order to save her, we needed to let her know that her behavior was really unacceptable.
He would get in trouble.
I would steal people's textbooks.
I stole a bunch of jewelry.
Because she was out of control, we needed to call the police.
I had every advantage in the world. My parents giving me every advantage, and I still needed to steal. I needed, to get high. I had gone through tons of withdrawals, times where, you're sick. It feels like 1,000 times worse than the flu. You're sweaty. You're trying to get through anything. I would walk into class, in these withdrawals, and I would go through this horrible week. And, I'm never gonna do this again. And 2 days later, I'd already made it through the acute withdrawals, but I was using again, and knowing full well that I'm gonna have to go through that again at some point. I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were. These are all synthetic forms of heroin. One of my best friends told my parents what I was doing. At the time, I was furious with him for, but something that only a real true friend would do. He saved my life.
The law saved my life, really. If my mom hadn't called the cops on me, I don't know where I would be right now.
It was the most difficult thing to do, to call the police on your own child. It was horrible.
When the police got involved, I had consequences of house arrest, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't walk down the street to go to my friend's house. I couldn't walk down the street to walk back. I couldn't do anything, and the consequences made me realize that this is not a good road to go down, and jail is scary.
We let Nacho know that we were going to rehab tomorrow. And when the time came, it was hard for us.
The using, for me, I thought, it was my choice, my body. I really didn't think it was anyone else's business, let alone should affect anybody else.
I have gone from putting importance on things like what college are you going to get into to just celebrating the fact that she's alive today.
Today I devote a lot of my life to recovery. It's hard.
Once in a while I'll want to, whatever, I crave, that's the word. But they get less and less. Life is so much better sober.
Aaron enjoyed talking and debating with any and all people, which was nice.
Yes.
He was 2 years ahead of me, so I spent 2 years in high school with him. And the first year was a lot of partying, a lot of fun. The second year was when things changed.
He was using prescription drug medication.
I'd remember coming home from school and he would just be laying on the couch watching TV for hours, sleeping, and he'd get up to eat something real quick and then he'd go back to the couch. He didn't want to have anything to do with anybody. If you did talk to him or stir anything up with him, he'd get extremely upset and leave and be in his room the rest of the night. Then the third year, it kind of got a little worse with the being physically sick, vomiting, fevers, chills. So I remember late at night, I had gotten the call from my aunt that Aaron had overdosed.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He had staph, he had pneumonia, he went through seizures. The doctor was explaining to us that he was going to die.
People use the medications in an abusive way, not knowing what the full consequences are, and somebody ends up here.
Within 24 hours, Aaron had opened his eyes.
If you've never tried prescription pills, I recommend never trying them. And for those who are already starting down this road, good luck. If you can get out now, do it. Otherwise, it's a rough road.
Did you feel like you were addicted, Aaron? 1 yes, 2 no. Yes.
The car it's a 2006 Lancer Evolution. It belongs to my brother. He bought it after graduating from high school. I'll just carry on as like if he was still here, working on it with me.
If my mom hadn't called the cops on me, I don't know where I would be right now.
This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because of his choice to abuse prescription pills.
Do you or a friend need help with prescription drug abuse? Don't wait.